All right, welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. I'm sat here today with Ivohé, who had the debut album Goldite Despeinada 2022. Since then, you've put out 7 singles, including Bling Bling, which we'll hear in a moment, and Blessings to the Heart, which is the most recent one, from Venezuela. Made a lot of music in London and now in Berlin. So listen to the snippet and get into it.
Bling, bling, suéñatela aquí. Bling, bling, suéñatela aquí.
And that was Bling Bling. For that, am I right that you worked with Youth?
Yeah.
What do you think? You've worked with him for a lot of the recent releases you've done. What do you think works best with him compared to with other producers? Like, for example, you worked with Henny Knights a lot on the album.
Me and Youth are actually together and we live together as well. So working together for like all of my last releases since the album have been with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really nicely because of the flow that we have. Obviously, it makes it easier living together. And we've established a really nice sort of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes I'll be laying down like chords or like a basic structure of a song and I'll be like, can you, I don't know, add this and that? And he's really quick to translate that into a song and it works really nicely. Or sometimes he'll have an idea and I'm listening to him produce something. I'm like, oh my God, can I have this, please? Like, I need to do something on it. Or I have like a melody idea or whatever. So we bounce off each other really easily. And yeah, I'm open though to work with other producers as well. It just like hasn't happened yet because of the circumstances. And I think
I mean, if it's easy as well, then
yeah. Also a lot because of COVID, like, you know, we didn't really like I didn't really go out for a long time and like meet other people and stuff like that. And the internet's great and I've like tried to like work with other producers over the internet, but I don't know, like it really does make a difference working in person together.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I can, like I prefer it, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm not like closed up about
not like exclusive, but it just works
yeah,
really
but it
well.
works nicely, yeah.
Yeah. Are you usually recording from home or do you have a separate space you can use?
Yeah, so we record at home. I have my little setup that I'm really like comfortable and used to now at this point. I do all my own vocal mixing at home and so it works really nicely.
Nice. Compared to working with Henny Knights, which you were in London for, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you've had to take a different approach to how you write music working with a different producer, or has it been?
Well, with Henny Knights, it was actually also long distance because at that time I had moved back to Berlin again.
Mm-hmm.
And we were pretty close friends at the time I was living there. So the process of starting the album was actually once I was already back in Berlin.
Right.
And it was a different approach because he had the idea for the concept more so than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And he also asked me if I'm like open to sing stuff that I didn't write myself. So some of the songs are like heavily co-written or completely written by him.
Mm-hmm.
But I always try to add my own twist. But I found that I prefer having more control.
Right.
So like the last singles, I feel like I really found myself musically. So the album was great and I'll always appreciate it for what it is. Like it was a really beautiful collaboration that happened with Henny. But I feel like in the last, you said 7 singles, I didn't even know, but
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, true. I'm like, that was almost an album. I feel like I found my sound and that was really through Termínelo. Like that was like the first single where I felt like, oh my God, like this is me. Like I finally know my sound. It took a long time to get there. I mean, I've been doing music for a long time, like releasing not so long, but I've been working on music for a long time. So yeah, finding your sound takes some time.
Yeah, and really difficult. And there's a very obvious, well, at least coming from the UK, pretty obvious mix of stuff that's really UK sounds, UKG jungle type of like rhythms, mixed with a lot of heavy Latin influence. Was UK music something you were listening to before you moved as well, or when did you even move to Europe?
So I wanted to correct you in the beginning as well.
Sorry.
Like, I'm actually half German.
Oh right.
So
okay.
I was born in Berlin, and I spent a lot of my time in Venezuela But because of the political situation, it was never like possible for me to stay longer periods of times, and it just wasn't really that safe.
Yeah.
And now, like, I want to go back this year, but my connection to my family has always been very strong. Like, we're a very close family, very big family, and I feel very like much closer to my Venezuelan side of the family than my German side, because of like the German side was just not there. Like, it
Right.
just
It's also maybe
just
a
my dad,
cultural
and that's it.
thing as well, where it seems like Latin families are generally a lot more, like there's more of an effort put into like having a family unit
Yeah,
compared to
absolutely.
here.
Yeah, you really look after one another. Like, I don't know, like, whenever I was there, like, I genuinely thought like my grandma's side of the family and my granddad's side of the family, I thought they were one family, because
Right.
everyone was hanging out with each other. And it took me like, I don't know, 16 years to realize, oh my God, it's like two different units actually. But like, everyone was so like, not even just my grandparents, but like cousins and aunties and uncles, and everyone is just like, everyone knows each other and looks after one another. And there's a big sense of community that I feel like really doesn't exist in Germany as I know it. I know that maybe in countrysides it's different, and like towns and stuff like that, I feel like there is more community than, like, for example, in Berlin or stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Also, there's not really like a Latin community like that, especially when I grew up here, that I could have felt like is something that I could have found my people in. So
Right.
it was very isolating growing up here, actually.
Yeah. Is German your first language then?
Yeah, German and Spanish.
Right. Is there a reason you chose to write in Spanish and English and not include German at all?
Yeah, I was actually thinking like the other day, I was like writing like one sentence in German. I was like, should I?
Should I
start
do it?
German now? No, but I made the decision when I was like very young that I always wanted to learn English. I wanted to be really good at it, because I felt like it was like a secret language that all adults possess, and I
Right.
don't for some reason. I was really upset about that. And I think it was easy for me to pick up languages because obviously growing up bilingual makes it easier. And also, I guess I always had the creative side about me. Like, I was always imitating like Britney Spears and like,
Right.
I don't know, Robbie Williams and stuff like that. Just like what I would hear, and like imitate the sounds and how they speak and how they sing without understanding what it means. And so when I was 18 and I first went to London with my mum, I was like, oh my God, I need to move here. Like, I love it so much. And it was either Berlin or New York. Like, I
Right.
either wanted to go to one of those two places. I really wanted to make it hard for myself. I don't know.
But when
I
you went
just,
and you were 18, could you speak English already, or was
yeah,
it?
I could.
Okay, right.
But it wasn't like, I had no baseline. I didn't, have like any cultural references, any like accent references, even, because I was
Right.
watching a lot of American media and
Mm.
reading English books. But so for me, I really wanted to be around English speaking people, and like in an English speaking country where eventually it would sort of rub off on me, and where I didn't have to think about what what comes out of my mouth. So like, I wanted it to be second nature, just like
Yeah.
Spanish or English. And so, because I knew I wanted to write in English and sing in English, so, in the
Right.
beginning.
Yeah. When did you discover the like UK sounds that are in your music now?
When I was living in London, I was actually listening to a lot of, like, for me, it was more like alternative hip hop, and that's also why the first album is more like hip hop genre and R&B alternative. When I lived in London, I went to a lot of underground parties, a lot of grime parties as well, stuff like that. But I hadn't really found my sound yet, and it was different times. And it really just came when I met my boyfriend here in
Right.
Berlin. Funny enough.
Oh, okay.
And he grew up in London, and like he's very nerdy about jungle and drum and bass, and he went to a lot of like warehouse raves. So did I, but like for me, like the music, it was always around, but it wasn't really on my radar like that. Like, I wasn't nerdy about it at the time at all.
Yeah.
And then my boyfriend, so we were always joking, and he's like, he literally saved his number on my phone when we first met as Nick Jungle Master Flex. And so it was always a joke. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do jungle music one day, like as a joke. But then I actually, I fucking love it now. So
Yeah. So like if you're living together as well,
Yeah,
get more fluent in the language of that
Yeah,
genre.
he made me watch all the documentaries and like the history about it. He educated me about all of it, and I really love that genre. It's a beautiful it has a beautiful origin story, and it's very culturally important to London and to people of color and white people as well. Like it's like a mix of two different cultures coming together. So
Yeah. For the alternative hip hop, was that something you found when you were really young, and it was like something that's just music that wasn't from your parents? You're like, oh, this is a new thing, or did you discover it later when you were more like 17, 18?
Yeah, I discovered it later for sure. It took me a long time to even figure out what kind of music I like. Like, I was listening to everything, and then when I moved to London, I met Henny Nights and Nicky Nights at the same time, and we were really
Right.
close friends for a long time while I was living there. And they've always been into hip hop and alternative hip hop, and they make a lot of great underground hip hop music, and so that really got me into it. It was really them too.
Nice.
Yeah,
And before that, what were you listening to?
Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, still good music.
I was like, I mean, I will never be ashamed of it, but it was also the times, you know. And Lana Del Rey, of course. I wasn't really that different, you know. Like I was always interested in what was going on, like in pop culture as well.
Yeah.
And so I was listening to a lot of like indie stuff, I would say.
You mentioned on I think on your Instagram, that you were going through a lot of emotional change when you were writing Golditen Despinella.
Yeah.
And there was a phrase that you said that I thought was really interesting. You said you felt like you had no power over who you were, and you were a vessel for whatever people projected onto you.
Yeah.
Was that something that kind of came from moving into a different place, or where did that feeling come from?
I really didn't know who I was at all. Like I would say I'm a really late bloomer, and everything took me a lot longer than I felt like it did for other people. And so it was a tumultuous time living in London, really.
Right.
Mentally, financially, everything. And I was definitely like running away from a lot of things in Germany that I couldn't deal with here. And then they sort of those problems really blossomed when I lived in London. Like,
Right.
like, hey. But yeah, it's definitely like my coming of age story, like that album. And I've grown a lot from it. I don't relate to it anymore. And I'm grateful for that. Like I genuinely can't relate to that album anymore.
Right. That's kind of cool as well, though, to have like a snapshot of how you're feeling in that time, and then you can look back on it in a more like concrete way of like, oh, this is really that moment.
Yeah, I feel tender about it. Like it's cute. It's like that was my younger self.
It's good as well.
You know?
It's a good album as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
You have a upcoming album you mentioned.
Yeah, I do.
Is there a concept behind it as well? Can you talk a little bit about like what your headspace is going into doing a big project like that?
So the next album that's coming out is called Sin City, and it's a collaboration album with Youth. And the concept behind it is big city, so like a place that would be considered a sin city. So probably places like New York, London, I think Berlin too.
It's a little big city.
Huh? Yeah, it's a little big city. Yeah. But the vibes here are insane. So and just my desire really to get out. I feel like it's easy, obviously, to romanticize things that you don't have. For me, like having a place with a garden or like being in touch with nature, like I genuinely feel so removed from nature and from like real life.
Right.
And a lot of it I blamed on cities or big cities because I've always only lived in big cities.
Yeah.
And so the concept was really, I don't know, like playing with this like demonization of big cities, but also the romantic parts that big cities can have. So like, I'm not 100% like hating on it, but I'm also not 100% loving on it in this album. So there's some songs that are like upbeat, and like I sort of like, okay, like I'm enjoying this place that I'm at, and I can have like good parties and go out and have time with my girls and stuff like that. But then other songs are more dealing with this feeling of like feeling cramped and almost paranoid. Like I have one song that deals with like this feeling that you have when you're like on the tube or something, and you just feel like everyone's staring at you, and it's you just want to get out, and it's so full and everyone is
Hmm.
miserable, and you feel sort of insane. And yeah, I play a lot with that, with those feelings that have come up with me in the last few years, that I felt being in a city.
Yeah.
um I guess I'm splitting a lot on things like this, where I see
That's
stuff like
healthy
black and
too.
white. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that an idea that you had going into the album where you're like, this is the concept, I want to make an album about it? Or was it kind of like you started to notice a lot of songs had a similar
Yeah,
message?
it was actually like that. A lot of the songs that I was writing in the recent year were just really dealing with like, I want to get out of here. Like literally,
Hmm.
like most of the songs, I'm like, get me out of this place. I fucking hate it here. Get me out. Get me out. Get me out. I want to be with nature. I want to have a cat. I want to have a little sand beach. Like
Hmm.
I can't be here any longer, and my mind isn't here anymore either. Like I genuinely feel like something is pulling me away from this place.
Right.
It's just the financial
Yeah.
limitations make it not as easy to just like up and move away.
Especially doing music, like you have to be around people to collaborate with
Yeah.
and places where you can get the technology you need to do music. Well,
Yeah.
less now. I mean, you did. There's one of the songs I forget now. Bling Bling, where it was recorded like under in Istanbul, which is
That
not
was
obviously not in the
blessings.
middle of nowhere.
Blessings for the heart.
Blessings,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Not in the middle of nowhere, but far away from
Yeah.
like your usual setup. So I guess it's becoming more possible, but still very
Yeah.
difficult to move, and the whole networking side becomes a lot harder. And
Definitely.
yeah.
Blessings for the Heart and Bling Bling are both part of the album.
Hmm.
And as you can hear in both of the songs, so like Blessings for the Heart, I am grateful. So I still in the album, I still find those moments of peace and of looking back and being grateful for everything that I have, and the good memories,
Hmm.
to not, get overtaken by like sadness and
Yeah.
like seeing everything as like bad. And Bling Bling is really also, it's a big city anthem, I would say,
Hmm.
like more like okay, I'm feeling this place and I can do what I want. It's a little bit cocky. It's a little bit like um an ideal version
Yeah.
of what I feel like I can be sometimes. But yeah.
Proud of your work as an artist? If you're wondering how you can proudly display your streaming achievements at home or in the studio, look no further than Music Streaming Awards, your one-stop destination for personalized framed awards showcasing your streaming success. Whether you've hit your first 1,000 streams or you're well into the millions, Music Streaming Awards has got you covered. To get your very own award and display your important milestones, just visit musicstreamingawards.com. And that's not all. Use the code UNSIGNED for an exclusive 10% discount. That's Music Streaming Awards. Immortalize your streaming success. Is there a specific place you would really want to go if you get the opportunity to move out of the city?
Yeah, I really want to go to Spain.
Right.
I want to go to Madrid. There's a lot of really, really interesting
It's
musical
another
things
massive
happening
city.
there. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I want to get out of this place. But I feel like if I would be in a city, I've literally never lived in a city where there's sunshine. So maybe the sun
Yeah.
would make a difference. But I also heard it's insufferable in summer. So maybe I would hate that too. I'm
Well,
not
most
very
people
good
just
with
move out of Madrid for
excessive
the
heat. I'm
summer,
not
I
good
think.
either.
Yeah. Do you feel like the location where you write has a big effect on your music? For example, if you're writing in Istanbul, I saw you were in Chicago recently,
Yeah.
London, Berlin, or if you've written in Venezuela at all.
Yeah, it has an effect for sure. And Berlin, obviously, so this album, I feel like it encapsulates the vibe that I get, at least living here.
Hmm.
Um, it's very up and down, has a dark sort of theme
Hmm.
throughout it. Which Berlin is very dark and has, you can feel the history here, like because everything is not so long ago, and like
Yeah.
even like with the Berlin Wall, that's not even long ago either.
Yeah, which is
So
weirdly like right outside of the studio, which
yeah,
is in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you can feel the vibes, like it's heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm just sick of it now. Like, I'm like, get me out of here. Like, I've been here all my life. I need something, like some sunshine. Like, I just need some, like, also like the people here, like, are great, but I would say even in London, like I felt like people were just a lot nicer, even on the surface level. It's like people are just a bit more, even if it's just like about being polite to each
Yeah.
other. Here, like even though I grew up here, like I can't with this like just being rude to everyone and just being like letting out your anger on everyone. Like I can't do it anymore. Like I'm so sick of it because it really affects my mental health. Like I need to be around, I don't know, a place that is culturally just generally a bit more, I don't know, like uplifting and
Yeah.
loving.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I crave for a lot in the album as well.
Right.
Just loving places and people.
Yeah. When you're writing songs, do you usually have ideas going into it, or like a feeling you're trying to express, or is it just like improvising and then taking the bits you like and putting the puzzle together that way?
Sometimes I have a very clear idea of what I want my song to be. So I always try to think of like, okay, so what am I trying to say with this song right now? What is the message here? To get sort of like a clear message across the song that
Yeah.
is just sort of um
Succinct.
yeah, but then other times it just comes out. Just whatever I've been feeling or going through, it just bubbles out of me and I just need to like, I don't know, sing or put down some chords and sometimes I'll just sing gibberish and I have like a cool melody idea and then I just like and then I was just like, I don't know, put like words to it and then I make sense of it later. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it always depends.
Did you play instruments growing up?
Yeah, I play piano. My dad, he's a pianist.
Oh, right.
And yeah, that was my gateway to music really.
What music was in the house when you were growing up, in the apartment, in the home?
So my mom was listening to a lot of merengue and salsa, and she was obsessed with Shakira, obsessed, and with Ricky Martin. And so my mom was playing a lot of pop music, I think, at the time in the early 2000s, which is what was playing. And yeah, a lot of salsa and merengue. And at my dad's place, because they weren't together, so I lived with my mom. And then at my dad's place, it was a lot of classical music, actually. A lot of Beatles and David Bowie and
Like classic rock type of.
yeah, just but even Sade as well. Like
Yeah.
I got his whole vinyl collection now, and it's like
Damn.
it's very soul-y as well, very romantic. Like he has a lot of romantic. Marvin Gaye, my dad loves him. Yeah, stuff like that was playing really. Yeah.
I want to circle back to Shakira because you recently performed as Shakira. But first, now that you have his collection, do you feel like you've rediscovered music that maybe when you were a kid you were like, oh, it's just dad's music, and now you're like, oh, this is really amazing?
Yeah. I think I've definitely rediscovered Sade through it because I you know, when stuff is playing at home, you don't really know who it is, you don't really care to ask and stuff like that. And so like my boyfriend, he loves like Youth, he loves like vinyls and stuff. He has a humongous vinyl collection.
Cool.
And really because of him, I got my dad's vinyl collection because he knows everything about vinyls, and he's got a vinyl a player. What do you call it again?
Turntable. Yeah.
Yeah, I just really got into Sade for it. Like that much that the blue cover. Fuck, I forgot the
I don't know
name,
either.
but yeah.
Yannick, do you know? Nothing.
Anyways, yeah, I really got into Sade and like her voice and her ethereal energy, and her voice is just like butter, like it's gorgeous.
Yeah. For Shakira, on the other, I mean, also amazing voice, but on the other like spectrum of music, I feel like.
Yeah.
Were you a big fan of Shakira as well, or was it like something where you had to perform as something for the USB Mag Halloween party, and you were like, oh, you can find it?
Obsessed with Shakira as well because my mum was, and I felt like you couldn't escape it. She was fucking everywhere. Like,
In,
and so
what era were you?
it was like early 2000s
Is
when
that like
she.
pre-blonde hair?
No,
Shakira?
no.
Oh, it was like
After blonde hair.
oh, it was like the
blonde hair.
football when the football World Cup happened. Like just before that, when she was like super.
Yeah, I remember even whenever came out, whenever, like that
Like laundry
video.
service.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes, with the fucking horses and the music video is iconic. Like it's so good. She, I don't know, like her style, everything, her hair. Like I was upset. Like she was like a goddess to me. And yeah, I mean, it's great. I don't think if I had discovered her now, like at the place where I'm at now musically, like I don't think I would have liked it, her music. Like there's some songs that are really, really great, but her voice is a bit particular. Like sometimes I don't like her voice so much.
Right. It's
So-
very like yeah.
So it's not my style necessarily, but you know, it was just what was around, and it definitely influenced some part of me. And so that's why I chose her really for the Halloween party. I was really, really sick on that day, unfortunately, but I still made it work. But yeah, Nick, he really like, I call him Nick, but he's youth, so you know.
Right.
Yeah, he really outdid himself on like the song productions for me. Yeah, I fucking love the songs that he made.
How'd you get involved with USB Mag? And it was a fundraiser for Palestine for medical aid as well.
Ryan, who actually runs tennis bar, he reached out to me because he had previously booked me for a gig at tennis bar. I think like a year before that. I don't know. He found me online, I think, or it was like through Instagram or Spotify or
Right.
something.
It's basically just a regular kind of booking, not like
Berlin connection.
Yeah.
And then he just booked me for the USB Mag Halloween party, and it was amazing. I wish I hadn't been ill because I had to go home straight after because my voice was literally gone because I had to
it's
give
super
my
cold
all.
as well. Like
Yeah.
You were also running a Patreon, which is always interesting because it's like a weird time, especially being like a emerging artist of like, okay, when can I actually kind of provide something like sell merch and do that kind of thing or do a Patreon? Was there a moment or like a point that you reached where you're like, oh, this is actually an option that can bring in some money?
Yeah, I mean, people have told me before that I should do Patreon, but I think my reach isn't big enough yet for people to actually invest in it. Like I have like 3 people.
Right. No, at least it's
and
3 people
shout
that's
out,
steady.
love you, like genuinely, thank you so much. It's tough times for artists, and especially for musicians because like we've been conditioned to just like take it for like granted and like it's free.
Yeah.
Like music is just free for a lot of people, it seems like, and because the market is so oversaturated, literally everyone can upload songs, and it's sort of like, where's the line between, okay, this person's actually putting in the work and is like really working their ass off to build something for themselves versus someone who's just like, I don't know, jokingly putting something together and like putting it out there and not really caring about it.
Yeah.
That's why the market is so oversaturated, because literally everyone can just put out stuff now, which is great, but also makes it harder for serious musicians to get taken seriously and be paid.
Yeah. Is there, apart from the Patreon, is there any way that you found that's that works well for that?
Is there anyone?
Any system you found well that works for bringing money in? Like whether it's merch or
not yet,
live shows?
honestly, I have to be honest, not yet. Like I need to still figure out how to get in the funds really. And unfortunately the truth is you have to branch out and you have to put on many different hats and try different things to get in money because it's really tough out here.
Yeah. Have you been taking on all of the kind of business side as well, or has your boyfriend been able to help with that? With like well, I guess you speak German as well. I don't know if he does, but that's a big help here for funding.
I did get funding last year actually.
Right.
With pop music. That was really great. It helped me cover a lot of previous costs that I had. And I'm trying to always get into that and like I always send out applications for funding and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, right now, yeah,
It's just really hard to make, especially that first jump. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 14, 15 months of just like working for free, and now hopefully there's some money coming in.
Yeah, you literally got to work for free for the longest
For
time.
so long.
Yeah.
But that's I guess part of the game.
Yeah.
Are there any music scenes or genres that you are really interested to get into now?
I'm not like, so I am doing a lot of like UK infused stuff, but I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm gonna just do one genre from now on. Like I always love to experiment and evolve and try new things. I would like to go a bit more in the perreo direction at the minute, but that might change next week. Like I'm very.
It's also super hard to like
from
doing
week
an
to week,
album.
I'm different. Like I want to do different things, and so like that's why it's so hard. Like sitting on projects or like old songs for so long, because it's like it's old to me now.
Yeah.
Which obviously it isn't to other people. So you have to really work in your brain, like how to stay motivated throughout and how to keep promoting your stuff, even though you don't feel as passionate as you did in the beginning about it.
Yeah.
It's very
and then
tough.
keep promoting as well afterwards.
Because I genuinely feel like, and so many other artists say this too, but like once you put out something, it's no longer yours. And I prefer, if I could, I would just like put it out there and never talk about it again. I'm like, okay, here, bye. Like it's yours now. Like interpret it as you will. Like I don't like to give too many instructions on like how to feel about my songs or whatever. So like, but it's part of the game. And until I have a big ass team that will do all of these non-musical things for me, business side of things, I will have to do that. So
this is totally disconnected, but we were just talking about pop culture things when the camera for the camera break. But I saw you watched Succession.
I love Succession. Oh my God, how do you know that? What the fuck?
I do my research. Is that mostly what you watch in your free time in terms of like that genre of like business drama, like just cocaine fueled terrible people?
No, I don't. I watch everything, and I also listen to everything. Like I'm not just like one genre or anything really. I watch everything, and I didn't watch Succession for a long time because it was so businessy. Like I was like, I'm gonna get bored. Like I don't like to watch business things at all. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
But I was bored and I didn't have anything to watch. I feel like I'm definitely like a TV series addict. Like that is my vice. Like I'm constantly watching something. It's also the ADHD. Like you always have to have something. I always have to have something playing on the side, even if I'm doing the dishes or cooking or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people go through that because of social media age now, but and Succession already had a lot of seasons out, which I think is great because then I can binge a lot.
Yeah.
And it has great reviews. Everyone was talking about it. And I was sort of late to jump on the train, but I prefer that. I even like for me,
it's bingeable then. Like you don't have to wait.
Exactly. Yeah. Game of Thrones, I also didn't start watching until until 5 seasons were already out.
Yeah. I mean, we were also probably too young to be watching it when it started.
I remember trying to start to watch it when I didn't live in the UK yet, and like I didn't understand what they were saying in Game of Thrones because the accents were just so insane, like so like northern. I was like, what are they saying? Like even with subtitles, I was like, no, I'm not watching this.
I had to specifically find on Amazon. It doesn't have subtitles in Spanish a lot of the time, and I was rewatching it with my girlfriend, and she was struggling with the same thing, and we had to like go find it with subtitles. And it's like, damn, are our accents that weird? Don't know. Yeah. No, but Succession was really amazing. HBO is just. What are you watching right now?
Wait, I literally was just. Oh my God, I was watching Outlander.
Lots of people like Outlander.
This is why, like, I watch so many like Succession, Outlander. Like you never know what I'm watching.
Yeah, that's like the opposite end of TV.
Outlander, made me really want to go to Scotland.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
Literally, whatever I'm watching, I'm like, I want to go there now. Like.
Apart from
so
Succession,
easily, I literally had a photographer message me on Instagram from LA. It was like, I love your music. I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to LA now. Like, I literally it just takes one person. Like, I love your stuff, and I'm like, I want to go to where you are.
Have you been able to travel for doing work at all?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Chicago last year.
That's a big trip.
Yeah, it was very fortunate to have an amazing event organizer reach out to me, Esmirna. Shout out, I love you. And she actually flew me out to Chicago for like it was a neighborhood community festival,
Cool.
and Latin, like there's a really big like Latinx community there, mainly
Yeah.
Mexican.
hmm
And so the festival was very like focused on that community from that area in Chicago, in person. And it was magical, genuinely. Like it was my first time in the US as well. So I felt
Right.
like it was a cool introduction to the US as opposed to places like LA or New York. I feel like that's like the first destination people would think to go when
Yeah.
they visit the States. So I'm grateful that I got to be in Chicago first. It's an amazing city.
Cool. Um,
So I love
also,
cities, I guess. Fuck. I don't think I'll ever get away from cities.
It's like a blend would be good. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'd love to do 6 months in the summer
Exactly.
in Berlin, skip the winter, and do
Yeah.
it like countryside somewhere,
Yeah, for
somewhere
real.
warm
Or have like a house somewhere, like
to make music.
yeah, somewhere outside where you can disconnect from everyone and everything because it gets loud and
Yeah,
Mm.
it's the dream.
yeah.
Well, we're coming up on 45 minutes. I'm trying to remember if I have any quick fire questions. Only two, so it's not really a segment, but I wanted to ask about, you had the fried egg nail on the Slip remix, which was really cool. Do you have a
It's very
favorite?
important to me.
Do you have a favorite nail you've like been able to wear?
Favorite nail.
Yeah.
Yeah, for my upcoming single Sin City, for that music video, I had a friend Vio who made the nails, and paying they're so insane. Like I'm really excited to have
Show 'em off.
Yeah, show them off in the video, and yeah.
Nice. And the other question was, do you have any recommendations for Venezuelan artists? But that was assuming you grew up in Venezuela, so I don't know if you do. But
I mean, there's really great contemporary Venezuelan artists at the
Mhm.
moment. Puerto Azul is amazing.
Mhm.
Then wait, I need to look up the names because I don't
Same.
want to.
It's crazy to me, these videos that people are like, oh, what a song you like right now? And people are like, oh, I like this song, just off the top of their head.
Yeah, I need to look it up because
Yeah.
I mean I have playlists as well. Like I love making playlists like everyone, and I have some playlists with like underground perreo, not exclusively Venezuelan, but I can put one together.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, there's great talent there, and I'm genuinely like, I've been really grateful to like be able to connect through the internet with
Yeah.
Venezuelan artists, not just musicians, but also photographers and like contemporary artists and stylists and stuff like that. So I feel like I really need to go this year
Mhm.
if the funds and the gods allow.
Yeah, and if you can, because it's
Yeah.
complicated right
I
now.
can now. Like it's actually safer now to go
Right.
because all the malandros, all the criminals have left the country because there's nothing to rob. Yeah, I mean, there's no tourism there, so
Yeah.
it's actually safer for me to go now. But yeah, I need to
Yeah.
go. My family's still there, and so yeah. Cherry Chola is actually, we're internet besties. She's another Venezuelan artist. She makes more perreo, reggaeton.
Mhm.
She's based in Mexico now, but yeah, she's amazing. Definitely check her out. Then I've got Bloom is also Venezuelan, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Aún no hija as well, really great. Aida Rojas, and I will be putting together as well like a little playlist maybe that you can link where I'm
That'd be
gonna
really
put in
cool.
everyone that I forgot maybe because
Yeah.
there's great talent there, and I want.
Awesome.
them
We'll
to
check the
share.
description for the playlist.
Yeah.
And do you have anything you want to promote before we finish off?
Yes, my album is coming out pre-summer, so maybe in May. And the date isn't set yet, but once I have the date, I will message you and maybe you can put it in the description. Sin City's coming out soon. Yeah,
Awesome.
please listen.
Yeah. Awesome. And thank you everyone
excited.
for watching or listening. Let us know in the comments if there's any artists you'd want to see come on the podcast, or if you have any questions or just anything like that, let us know. Feedback is the thing that helps us the most. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. It was amazing chatting to you. Thank you.